Howdy y'all, we are making baie lekker butternut beef lasagna. First we start with our butternuts. I have 2 small medium-sized butternuts which I'm going to cut the ends off and peel them, and then I'm going to cut them into rings, take out the seeds in the middle, and then I'm going to cut them into chunks. I don't want mine too big or too small, so I just cut them the size that I prefer. Drizzle some olive oil over your butternut chunks and transfer them to a preheated oven at 180 Celsius for 15 minutes. While your butternut chunks is in the oven, take 2 yellow onions, peel and dice them to a medium small dice. Transfer your onions to a pan or pot or whatever you'll be cooking with. I'm using a cast iron like pot. Then take 4 carrots, peel the skins off and cut them to the desired size. Place the carrots into the pot with your onions. Transfer to your stove. I have a gas stove which I have set to full flame. Drizzle with some olive oil and start to saute your veggies. While your veggies is starting to do their thing, peel and finely dice 4 cloves of garlic. At this stage, your butternuts will be done. Place them to one side. I ended up placing them back in the oven for the entire time until they were needed. When your onions and carrots start to brown and smell delicious, add your garlic and a bit of freshly chopped basil. Continue to saute your veggies until they start to get a lovely char. At this point, add 1 kilogram of ground beef to your pot. Half a kilo at a time and break it into smaller pieces, and then add the other half and fry until most of the ground beef is browned. Then add a herb bundle made out of rosemary, thyme and basil and fry for additional 5 to 7 minutes. Once they are cooked, and at this stage making the entire house smelling lekker, add your choice of spices. Finally, add 2 cans of tomato relish and stir well. Add some kettle water and place your lid on your pot and allow to simmer on low heat for around 30 minutes, keeping an eye on them to make sure they don't burn. Next, I made my lasagna sheets. If you're going to roll them by hand like me, I would suggest you make them the day before because they took quite a while. Start by dumping 3 cups of sifted cake flour on a clean counter, then make a well with your flour. Add 4 large eggs to your flour. I always crack my eggs open in a cup because if there's a rotten egg, you'll need to throw away all your flour. Take a fork and break the yolks apart, and then using your fork, start incorporating the flour with the eggs. Once most of the eggs is incorporated into the flour, I'm going to switch to my bench scraper and let it do most of the dirty work. Time to get your hands dirty and knead the dough. At first it will be very dry, but just continue kneading. You can get a cup of cold water and just keep it on hand and add a little at a time and continue kneading. It is a slow and steady process, but it's so worth it. Once the dough starts to form a ball, just continue kneading until your dough is smooth. It will be a bit tough and dry, but it will rehydrate while it rests. When your dough is nice and smooth, wash your hands, grab a Ziploc bag or cling wrap and place your dough in the bag. Let it rest in the fridge for around an hour. When an hour has passed, take your dough out of the bag and dust your counter with flour. Knead your dough for around 2 minutes and then cut your dough into quarters. Take 1 quarter and flatten it with your hands. Dust your roller with flour, and the next part will require lots of elbow grease. Start rolling, and when you think it's thin enough, just keep on rolling. When you can see through the dough and it is paper-like thin, then it is done. Cut your dough to the size of your casserole. I got reinforcements for the rest of the dough, so I started to make the white sauce. To a saucepan on a medium heat, add 100 ml of butter. Once the butter is melted, add salt and pepper to taste. Add 100 ml of all-purpose flour and whisk until combined. Then add another 100 ml of all-purpose flour And whisk again until your mixture looks like this, crumbly and little dough balls. Then add 500 ml of milk and whisk well until all the dough is dissolved. Then add another 500 ml of milk, continue to whisk until thickened. You should be able to put a spoon in the sauce and wipe a finger across the back of the spoon, and the line should stay there, it should not be runny. When your sauce is thick, add a cup of cheese and whisk until the cheese is melted. Give it one final taste and turn off the heat. I made 2 pans of white sauce because I have enough of everything to make 2 casseroles. So everything I did here, I just did once more. Okay, now for the fun time. It is assembly time. Start with a buttered casserole and add a little ground beef on the bottom just to prevent your lasagna sheets from sticking to the bottom. Next, add a sheet of lasagna and then add a layer of ground beef. Then place some of your butternuts and then a layer of white sauce. And then another lasagna sheet. Just keep repeating. I ended up making 4 layers and then the rest of the white sauce goes on top. Even it out and then carefully transfer to a preheated oven of 180 Celsius for 40 minutes. When 40 minutes has passed and your lasagna is looking and smelling delicious, take it out of the oven and let it rest for 20 minutes. Then sprinkle over some freshly chopped basil leaves and then we can finally serve this amazing looking lasagna. We're going to cut out the piece and carefully make sure it's loosened from the sides, and then carefully lift up our lasagna and place on our plate. Then place some roquette over your lasagna and then you can finally dig into this lekker lasagna. Geniet! Thank you all for watching. If you did geniet the video, hit that like button. If you didn't geniet it, smash the dislike button twice. See you all next time.